can't. I can't do this.
Rain slammed against the glass walls of the luxury hotel as Joon Seo-min stepped out onto the balcony, his phone still pressed tightly to his ear. "Cancel the rest of my schedule tonight," he said coldly. "I don't care what it costs." "But sir, the donors," his assistant tried to protest. Seo-min ended the call without another word. Behind him, inside the ballroom, laughter exploded again. Crystal glasses clinked. Cameras flashed. People shouted his name like it meant something more than money. He tightened his jaw and stared into the rain. 33 years old. Richer than entire districts of Seoul. Owner of towers that scraped the clouds. Yet at that moment he felt suffocated, like the walls were closing in on him. Another woman had just laughed too loudly at his joke. Another guest had praised his watch instead of his words. Another night pretending this life satisfied him. Seo-min ran a hand through his hair and exhaled sharply. Then he heard it. A quiet sound. Broken. Almost swallowed by the rain. Crying. He turned. At the far end of the balcony, near a marble pillar, a woman stood soaked to the skin. Her shoulders trembled as she pressed her palm to her mouth, trying to silence herself. Rain plastered her hair against her face, and her dress clung awkwardly to her body. She didn't belong here. Not in this place of tailored suits and diamond necklaces. Seo-min hesitated. People usually froze when they saw him. Smiled too hard. Straightened their backs. Reached for their phones. This woman didn't even notice him. He walked toward her slowly. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice barely louder than the rain. She flinched and turned, eyes wide. For a split second, embarrassment flashed across her face. I'm sorry," she said quickly, brushing tears away. "I didn't mean to. I'll leave." She took a step back, slipping slightly on the wet floor. Seo-min reacted without thinking. He reached out and steadied her. "You don't have to leave," he said. She stared at his hand like it surprised her. "I just needed air," she said quietly. This was the only place no one was watching. Seo-min glanced behind him at the ballroom. "I understand that." He removed his jacket and held it out. "Here." She frowned. "No, I'll ruin it." "It's already ruined," he said calmly. "By me wearing it." That earned a small, broken laugh from her. She hesitated, then accepted it. "Thank you," she murmured. They stood in silence as rain poured around them. After a moment she spoke again, voice trembling. "I didn't think tonight could get any worse." Seo-min looked at her. "What happened?" She swallowed hard, as if deciding whether to tell the truth. "My job ended this morning," she said. "The school shut down. No warning. No severance. Just gone." "I'm sorry," he said, and meant it. "I moved here for that job," she continued. "Saved for 3 years. I told everyone I was brave. Turns out I was just stupid." Seo-min surprised himself by sitting down on the cold marble steps beside her. His tailored trousers soaked instantly. She noticed and gasped. "Oh my God, your clothes?" "It's fine." "No, it's not fine," she said, eyes wide. "You don't just sit on wet marble like that." He shrugged. "I do tonight." She studied him, confused. "You don't look like the kind of man who does things like that." "What kind of man do I look like?" She hesitated. "Important." The word hit harder than he expected. "Important men get lonely too," he said. She laughed softly, then wiped her eyes. "Guess that makes 2 of us." She pulled her knees close to her chest, jacket wrapped tightly around herself. "I'm Emma," she said. "Emma Brooks." "Seo-min," he replied. "Just Seo-min." She nodded. "Nice to meet you." Seo-min. For the next 2 hours, the world inside that ballroom ceased to exist. Emma talked. About growing up with her aunt after losing her parents young. About falling in love with books because they never left. About teaching children who reminded her why she kept going, even when life felt unfair. Seo-min listened. Really listened. No one interrupted them. No one asked for favors. No one cared who he was. And now my visa's tied to a job I don't have anymore, Emma said quietly. So I guess this is me failing internationally. That's not failure, Seo-min said. She looked at him. Then what is it? Courage that hasn't paid off yet. Her eyes softened. You talk like someone who's never failed, she said. Seo-min smiled faintly. I fail every day. I just fail quietly. When the rain finally slowed, he stood and offered his hand. Can I take you to dinner? She blinked. Dinner? Yes. She hesitated. I don't belong in places like this. We won't go somewhere like this. That surprised her. He took her to a small restaurant tucked between old buildings, warm and noisy and alive. The owner greeted him like any other customer. Emma relaxed almost instantly. They shared food, stories, laughter. For the first time in years, Seo-min forgot who he was supposed to be. When they parted that night, she smiled shyly and said, "Thank you for listening." He watched her walk away, something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. And for the first time in his carefully controlled life, Joon Seo-min wanted something he couldn't buy. The next morning, Seo-min woke up with the strange feeling that something had shifted. Sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, reflecting off polished marble and glass. The space was massive, spotless, and silent. Normally he liked the quiet. That morning it felt wrong. His phone buzzed on the bedside table. A known number. He stared at it for a second before answering. Hello. Hi, it's Emma. From last night. I hope I didn't wake you. His heart thudded once hard. No, he said quickly. I was already awake. That's good, she said, relief in her voice. I wasn't sure if you gave me your number just to be polite. I don't do polite, he replied. I do honest. She laughed. Then honestly, would you like to get coffee? Yes, he said without hesitation. They met at a small cafe near the river. Emma arrived first, nervously stirring her drink. When Seo-min walked in, her eyes lit up, then she quickly looked away, embarrassed. You look different, she said. So do you. Different how? Like you slept. She smiled. That might be the nicest thing anyone said to me all week. They talked for hours. About nothing. About everything. Days turned into weeks. Seo-min told his assistant he was unavailable every evening. He stopped attending meaningless dinners. He left meetings early. No one dared question him, but whispers began. Emma never asked what he did for work. She assumed he was some kind of consultant, and he let her believe it. With her, he was just Seo-min. They walked through street markets, sharing skewers and laughter. They sat by the river, feet dangling, talking about childhood dreams. She showed him her favorite second-hand bookstore. He showed her hidden hiking paths above the city. One evening, as they watched the sun dip behind the mountains, Emma spoke softly. Can I ask you something personal? You already have, he said. She smiled, then grew serious. Why are you always alone? He froze. What do you mean? I mean, you never talk about family. Or friends. Or anyone who knows you. Seo-min swallowed. Because most people don't know me. They know what I have. Emma studied his face. That sounds lonely. It is. She reached for his hand, fingers warm against his skin. Then don't be lonely with me. Something in his chest cracked open. 3 months passed like that. Easy. Real. Until the fear crept in. Emma started checking her phone more often. Her smiles lingered a little less. She flinched every time she passed an immigration office. One night, Seo-min found her staring at an email, eyes red. What's wrong? He asked. She forced a smile. Nothing. Just spam. He knew she was lying, but he didn't push. A week later, at a small amusement park on the edge of the city, he took her hand as fireworks burst overhead. Emma, he said quietly, I'm falling in love with you. Her breath caught. I was afraid you'd say that, she whispered. He frowned. Why? Because loving him meant losing him. But she couldn't say that. She kissed him instead. A kiss full of fear and longing. The next day, Seo-min's legal advisor stormed into his office. "The media is circling," the man said. "They've noticed your absences. They're asking questions." "So?" Seo-min replied. "So this relationship of yours won't stay private much longer. If she finds out from the press." "I'll tell her," Seo-min said. That evening he went to Emma's apartment. The door was open. Suitcases lined the wall. Emma stood in the middle of the room, hands shaking as she folded clothes. "What's going on?" he demanded. She turned, tears spilling instantly. "My visa expires in 4 weeks," she sobbed. "I tried everything. Every school. Every program. Nothing worked." Seo-min stepped closer. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want you to save me," she cried. "I wanted you to love me." He cupped her face. "I do love you." "Then don't make this easier," she said. "Let me go." "I won't." He dropped to one knee. "Marry me," she gasped. "You don't even know what you're asking," she said. "I know exactly what I'm asking." She shook her head, backing away. "You're offering me safety, not love." "I'm offering you both." She whispered, "I know who you are, Seo-min." Silence. "I've always known," she continued. "And that's why I can't stay." Her voice broke. "Your world would eat me alive." He reached for her, desperate. She stepped back. "I love you," she said. "That's why I'm leaving." That night, while Seo-min was trapped on an emergency call, Emma disappeared. She left behind a letter. And a ring. Seo-min didn't realize how quiet the world could become until Emma left. The penthouse that once felt peaceful now echoed with emptiness. Every surface reminded him of her absence. The mug she liked, the book she never finished, the jacket she once forgot and never came back for. He sat on the edge of his bed, the letter clenched in his hands, reading it again for the 4th time even though every word was already burned into his mind. "Seo-min, if you're reading this, it means I was too much of a coward to say goodbye properly. I'm sorry for that. I loved you more than I ever planned to love anyone, and that's exactly why I had to leave." His fingers trembled. "Your world is big and powerful and mine is fragile. I didn't want to become a shadow standing beside you, always wondering when I would disappoint you or your family. Loving you was the bravest thing I've ever done. Walking away was the hardest." He exhaled sharply, pain tightening his chest. "Please don't come looking for me. Loving you taught me that some people change your life forever, even if they don't stay in it." The ring slid from the paper and landed on the floor with a soft clink. Seo-min closed his eyes. "No," he whispered. "You don't get to decide that alone." He stood abruptly, grabbing his phone. "Find her," he told his security chief. "Anywhere. Any cost." Within hours, private investigators were mobilized. Bank records. Flight manifests. Immigration databases. While they searched, Seo-min faced another battle. One he'd avoided his entire life. His grandfather. Chairman Yoon sat at the head of the long dining table, posture rigid, eyes sharp despite his age. "You've been neglecting your duties," the old man said calmly. "Your name is being whispered." Seo-min didn't bow his head. "I'm done living only for the company." The chairman's eyes narrowed. "You sound weak." "No," Seo-min replied. "I sound honest." Silence stretched. "There was a woman," Seo-min continued, "and I lost her because I was afraid to be human." The old man scoffed. "Love is a luxury." Seo-min slammed his hand on the table. "So is regret." That startled even himself. The chairman studied him for a long moment, then slowly leaned back. "I once loved a woman," the old man said quietly. "I chose ambition over her. She married someone else. I never forgave myself." Seo-min's breath caught. "Go," the chairman said after a pause. "Before you inherit my mistakes." That night the call came. "She's in Charleston," the investigator said. working 2 jobs, living with relatives. Seo-min was on a plane within hours. When he found Emma, she was shelving books in a small bookstore, hair pulled back, eyes tired but determined. She looked up. Their eyes met. The world stopped. "Seo-min," she whispered. He walked toward her slowly, heart pounding. "I crossed an ocean because you don't get to disappear from my life," he said. Tears filled her eyes. "You shouldn't be here. I should have been here sooner." People stared as he dropped to one knee. "I don't care about wealth, or status, or fear. I choose you. Every day." Her hands shook as she covered her mouth. "You're terrifying," she cried. "And I love you." "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." They held each other as the world watched. Emma didn't remember how long they stood there in the bookstore. All she knew was that Seo-min's arms felt solid, real, like something she could finally lean on without fear. Customers whispered. Someone quietly recorded on a phone. She barely noticed. When she finally pulled back, she looked up at him through tears. "You crossed an ocean," she said. "For me. I would cross it again," Seo-min replied. "And again. And again." Her voice trembled. "You don't understand what you're asking for. My life is small, messy, complicated." He smiled softly. "So is mine. That's why they fit." She laughed through her tears. "You're impossible. And you're my home." They left the bookstore together, hands tightly intertwined, as if either of them might disappear if they let go. That night they talked until morning. They talked about fear, about class differences, about what the media would do, about what his family might say, about how hard it would be. Emma stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Promise me something. Anything. When it gets ugly, don't hide again." Seo-min turned toward her. "I spent my whole life hiding. I'm done." The following weeks were chaos. News broke. Headlines exploded. Cameras followed them. Comment sections were brutal. "She's a gold digger. She trapped him. She doesn't belong." Emma read them all. One night she finally broke down. "I can't do this," she cried, hands shaking. "They're tearing me apart." Seo-min knelt in front of her. "Look at me." She did. "They don't know you," he said. "They don't get a vote. But your world—" "My world is changing," he interrupted. "Because you're in it." He took her hands. "Stay. Not because it's easy. Stay because it's us." She nodded slowly. "Okay." They married quietly first. No cameras. No reporters. Just vows spoken with trembling voices and tears that wouldn't stop falling. "I choose you," Emma whispered. "I choose you," Seo-min replied. "Always." Later came the celebrations. One wedding in Korea. Traditional. Elegant. His grandfather watched from the front row, eyes misty, nodding once when Seo-min met his gaze. Another wedding in Georgia. Laughter. Warm food. Old stories. Emma's aunt cried harder than anyone. 2 worlds. 1 love. They built a home that felt lived in. Messy. Warm. Real. Emma returned to teaching, standing in front of classrooms filled with curious faces. Seo-min left meetings early to pick her up. He learned how to cook badly and clean worse. 2 years later, as Seo-min stood in a hospital room holding a tiny hand, he felt something shift again. This time it wasn't loneliness. Emma looked at him, exhausted and glowing. "Her name is Grace." Seo-min kissed his daughter's forehead and whispered, "She saved me." Years later, Seo-min would stand on a balcony during a storm, holding Emma close, rain tapping softly against the glass. "Do you ever think about that night?" he asked. "All the time," she smiled. "I almost didn't go outside. I almost didn't follow the sound," he replied. He kissed her temple. "I'm glad we both did. Because sometimes, love doesn't arrive when life is perfect. Sometimes it arrives soaked in rain, shaking and uncertain. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to let it walk away without saying goodbye." If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps bring more powerful stories like this to life. And remember, love is never about what you have. It's about who you choose.